The Mary Celeste was a merchant ship that was constructed in Canada in 1861. Initially called the Amazon, it was driven ashore by a storm on Cape Breton Island in October 1867 and sustained severe damage. The owners left it as a wreck, and it was later purchased by a man named Alexander McBean from Nova Scotia. McBean then sold the ship to Richard Haynes in December 1868, who had it repaired and renamed it the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste was seized by creditors in October 1869 and sold to a New York-based corporation led by a man named James Winchester. The ownership of the ship changed numerous times over the next few years, but Winchester held a significant portion of the shares. In early 1872, the ship underwent a significant renovation before setting sail. By October 29 of that year, the corporation was composed of Winchester with 6 shares, 2 minor investors with 1 share each, and the new captain, Benjamin Spooner Briggs, holding the remaining 4 out of 12 shares. On November 7, 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York City bound for Genoa, Italy. It was captained by Benjamin Spooner Briggs and crewed by his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and 7 crew members. After spending 2 weeks at sea enduring harsh storms and dangerous seas, the Mary Celeste and its crew finally reached the Azores. According to Captain Briggs' journal, on the night of November 25, the ship encountered rough seas and winds of over 35 knots, which is approximately 40 miles per hour. But by the next morning, they had emerged unscathed with the island of Santa Maria in sight. However, when the Dei Gratia brigantine captained by David Morehouse encountered the Mary Celeste on December 5, they discovered the ship abandoned and drifting in the ocean, approximately 400 miles east of the Azores. Upon inspection, the Mary Celeste was found to be in nearly perfect condition, except for a small amount of water in the bilge. The ship's supplies, including food and water, were sufficient for 6 months, but the crew was nowhere to be found. Captain Morehouse and his crew of the Dei Gratia towed the abandoned Mary Celeste to Gibraltar and claimed it as salvage. Initially, they faced suspicion from Gibraltar's Attorney General, but the Vice Admiralty Court eventually approved their salvage prize and praised the crew's resourcefulness and bravery. However, the salvage award of roughly $8,300 was reduced due to the high court costs of the lengthy investigation. So what happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste? That is a question that has puzzled historians and most people for over 150 years. One theory is that the crew was the victim of foul play, either a mutiny or an attack by pirates. Some have claimed that the ship was cursed. However, there was no evidence of violence on board the ship, and all of the valuable items such as navigational equipment and the ship's cargo were still on board. While others claim the crew abandoned ship in a panic, possibly due to a natural phenomenon such as a waterspout or a rogue wave. Yet, the lifeboats were still on board and there was no evidence of any extreme weather events in the area at the time. Some have even suggested that the crew was taken by sea monsters or other supernatural forces, but again, there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. After the Gibraltar salvage hearing, the owners of the Mary Celeste sold it at a significant loss to a group of New York businessmen. Under this new ownership, the ship primarily sailed in the West Indies and Indian Ocean routes, consistently losing money. The new captain, Edgar Tuthill, became ill and died a questionable death on the island of St. Helena, further fueling the belief that the ship was cursed as he was the 3rd captain to die prematurely. In February 1880, the ship was sold again to a group of Bostonians and was captained by Thomas L. Fleming until August 1884, and later by Gilman Parker. During this time, the ship's port of registration changed multiple times before returning to Boston. In an attempt to commit insurance fraud, Parker and a group of Boston shippers loaded the Mary Celeste with fake valuable goods and insured them for $30,000 before departing for Haiti. On January 3, 1885, Parker intentionally ran the ship into a coral reef, causing it to be ruined beyond repair. He and the crew then sold the salvageable cargo to the American Diplomat for $500 and filed insurance claims for the supposed value of the goods. However, when the Diplomat revealed that the cargo was nearly worthless, Parker and the shippers were tried for conspiracy to commit insurance fraud in July 1885. Parker was also charged with the crime of barratry, which carried a potential death penalty, for willfully casting away the ship. The jury in the conspiracy case was unable to reach a verdict, so the defendants withdrew their insurance claims and returned what they received to avoid a retrial. The charge of barratry against Parker was postponed, and he was freed, but his reputation was destroyed and he died in poverty 3 months later. One of his co-defendants went psychotic, and another committed suicide, leading some to believe that the curse of the Mary Celeste had extended past its sinking to seek revenge.